Have you ever wondered how the religious leaders of Jesus' times, the most schooled and knowledgeable about the law and prophecy, the most prestigious scholars and teachers of it, couldn't or didn't want to believe Jesus, just this humble carpenter guy from Nazareth, a town of no importance, was the Messiah, and refused to accept him? To put this into perspective, specific prophesied details about the Messiah, which are called messianic prophecies, like which bloodline he would come through, that he would be born of a virgin, where he would be born, that he would be preceded by a messenger, that he would enter Jerusalem on a donkey, that he would be betrayed for 30 pieces of silver, and so on. All 48 of them were fulfilled by Jesus of Nazareth, not to mention the over 300 other, more general prophecies about the Messiah he fulfilled. So what happened here? Many Jewish leaders expected a kind of warrior king that would lead a revolt against Rome, who ruled over the Jews at the time. They expected someone who would subdue their enemies and restore their nation to greatness above others, but also who would be submissive to and dependent on them in spiritual and religious matters. So when Jesus revealed that it was by his own blood that he would deliver them, and that his kingdom would be one of love and justice, they weren't exactly thrilled. It basically threw their world upside down. The religious leaders had become legalistic, consumed with doctrine, attached to their elevated positions of status, power-hungry, and controlling. Jesus came to replace the law outright and render it obsolete, dissolving the very foundations of their whole lives. It was now to mean nothing and be simplified for everyone. Especially noteworthy is that Jesus mixed with the lowest of society, the prostitutes and tax collectors, the demon-possessed, those most spiritually sick and afflicted, those rejected by the religious leaders and labeled unclean and unworthy, which made the religious leaders have to face how judgmental, unloving, and self-righteous they had become. They weren't leaders or shepherds at all, but snobs and bullies. He even extended his love to Gentiles, those outside of their community, including Romans, their oppressors and idol worshippers. On top of these things, Jesus spoke both in parables, which made teachings accessible to the masses, making the scholastic privilege of the religious leaders less exclusive and the masses less reliant on them for understanding. But also at times, Jesus spoke quite abstractly, which was beyond their grasp and infuriated them, because they were so accustomed to being the gatekeepers of knowledge and understanding. They had become so consumed in rules and tradition and enforcing them that the meaning behind them was forgotten. Together, all of these things put the religious leaders in a kind of blindness, a self-denial. Their expectations of what they wanted the Messiah to be and their own selfish ambitions to go with that caused them to mistreat and reject God's most precious gift and lose favor with God. This makes me reflect on what expectations I may have about how Jesus will return and other details about the book of Revelation and how the last days will unfold. Jesus did give signs to watch for that identify the last days, and they describe the current scene, but Jesus still said he's coming as a thief. So how do we be ready? Based on the example of the religious leaders in Jesus' day, we can pray for release from any expectations and ego attachments we may have, so that we can recognize him and his love for us when he comes. We can be sure that he comes in love. And we also know that discipline is love. And discipline isn't always pleasant. But we can't be in union with Jesus or our Creator unless we make our temples, which is our bodies, our physical, mental, and emotional self, a holy place, as holy as we can. We need to work on getting out of our flesh and into our spirit so we are receptive to God's Holy Spirit and free from our own deceptive expectations. None of us are perfect. We all need healing, but we can find comfort in knowing that our Creator reads hearts, thoughts, and intentions. We also know that Jesus shows extra care to the lowliest of society, those rejected and crushed in spirit who have extra struggles. So remember, you are worthy. Pray and you will receive what you need. If you're interested in studying the Bible to learn more about God, his love, and his kingdom, feel free to send me an email. My contact info is in the description box.